Alright. Week 8, the Cincinnati Cinderaces are bringing Goodra, Lopunny, Incineroar, Aurorus, Talonflame, Dragalge versus the Lincoln City Suicunes. What are we looking at? Turtonator, Crobat, Swampert, Armaldo, Escavalier, and Oranguru. Interesting. Alright, Lincoln City Suicunes opening with Crobat and Oranguru. Cinderaces responding with Aurorus and Talonflame. That's a lot of pink over on the Suicune side. Crobat opens with the U-turn into Aurorus for a minimal amount of damage and bouncing back to Blockstar.
Is that afraid of me?
You gotta see what you're gonna do. Replaces it with Armaldo.
It's just funny.
Talonflame Steel Wing goes into Oranguru for a minimal amount of damage. Aurorus charges a Meteor Beam, gains a special attack boost, and activates its Power Herb. Ooh, and it one-hit KOs the Armaldo. Oranguru finishes the turn with the Trick Room. That Crobat was right to be afraid.
Yes, it was. That was besides the point.
Turtonator comes out to fill the spot. Solid turn 1 opening from the Cincinnati Cinderaces, knocking out the switched-in Armaldo. But Lincoln City Suicunes also getting a Trick Room up and putting a Turtonator out to capitalize on the Trick Room. Suicunes are opting for a Dynamax. And Dynamaxing their Turtonator. Talonflame removes itself from the field with Fly. Turtonator with a Max Worm win avoids. And a double avoid! Oh, Aurorus goes in with an Ice Beam into Turtonator for over a quarter of its health. That was a lot of bad luck culminating for the Lincoln City Suicunes in a single turn. Oranguru opening with an ally switch to switch places with Turtonator. Talonflame's Fly comes in and hits Turtonator almost down to 50%, but still in the green. Turtonator responds with a Max Quake into Aurorus. Ooh, takes it down to not quite the red, but hurt. Passing out special defense boost to it and its teammate. Aurora is charging up another Meteor Beam, boosting its special attack, but with no Power Herb this time, it has to wait until next turn. Turtonator with a max Wormwind into Aurora's will pick up the KO. Talonflame also takes an attack drop as Aurora's falls. Oranguru falls with a Psychic into Talonflame for about half its health. Talonflame responds with a Fire Blast into Oranguru for a minimal amount of damage. Cinderaces send out Dragalge to fill out. And that is it for the Dynamax Turtonator. "3v3 for the Cinderaces and the Suicunes. Dragalge and a half-health Talonflame staring down a 3/4 health Oranguru and about half-health Turtonator. Cinderaces still sitting on their Dynamax. Lincoln City Suicunes just finished theirs. Suicunes withdraw Turtonator, replace it with Crobat. Oranguru with a Psychic into Dragalge deals over half its health and damage. Dragalge responds with a Dragapulse into Crobat for about half its health, but not quite half. Talonflame with a Brave Bird into Oranguru knocks it down to yellow, and the recoil keeps it in yellow, and that's the end of the Trick Room. Suicunes making sure he likes his plan. Crobat opens with the U-turn into Dragalge. Not very effective damage at all, but Crobat swaps out. And out comes Turtonator again. Talonflame falls with a Fly. Dragalge with a Thunderbolt into Turtonator. Not very effective, but a small chunk of damage. And the Trick Room goes back up from Oranguru. Dragalge recovers a little health with its Black Sludge, putting it back into the green, just over half. Turtonator with a Protect. Oranguru falls with a Psychic into Dragalge, and that'll knock it out. Talonflames fly into Oranguru. Ooh, nice chunk of damage despite the attack drop. Cinderace's fourth and final Pokemon is Lopunny. "2v3, Cinderaces have a fresh Lopunny and a just under half health Talonflame staring down to Oranguru and Turtonator, both under half health. Oranguru hurt and not quite in the red yet. And one more Pokemon, that Crobat, still in the back for the Suicunes. Cinderaces opting for her Dynamax. That's a big bunny. Draco Meteor into Lopunny. Ooh, not for quite half its health. Turtonator takes a harsh special attack drop. Oranguru with a Psychic into Talonflame. Is that going to pick up the KO? Yes, it is! Talonflame goes down. Lopunny responds with a Max Knuckle into Oranguru. Oh, not quite. It's in the red, but barely hanging on. Ooh, and a crit to boot. Tight corner the Cincinnati Cinderaces found themselves in with their Dynamax. Lopunny staring down 3 Pokemon, but the Oranguru just barely hanging on. The Turtonator swaps out back into Crobat again. Oranguru with a Psychic into Lopunny. Lopunny takes it handily in response to the Max Strike into Oranguru to pick up the KO. 2 remaining. Lopunny versus Turtonator and Crobat. Trick Room is still up. Lopunny is Dynamax, but just hanging on. Can she do it? Turtonator with the Protect. Lopunny with the Max Guard in response. And a haze from Crobat to change, to remove all stat changes. And the Trick Room ends, as well as Lopunny's Dynamax. Crobat opens with a Tailwind. Lopunny follows with a Drain Punch into Turtonator. Doesn't put it in the red, but does recover a little bit of health. And then takes Life Orb Recoil. Turtonator with a Burning Jealousy into Lopunny. Knocks it out, and that does it for round 1. Round 1 to the Lincoln City Suicunes. Well fought, Cincinnati Cinderaces.
Yep.
1 down, 2 to go. 2 to go? 2 to go. For those of you just tuning in, you're just in time for Game 2 of Week 8 between the Cincinnati Cinderaces, your host, and the Lincoln City Suicunes, Blockstar, the guest. And both teams are locked in. Here we go, game 2. The Suicunes open with Swampert and Oranguru, continuing his theme of pink boys. The Cinderaces respond with Goodra and Aurorus. No snow warning set by the Aurorus, meaning it's the Refrigerate. Which means any of its normal moves become Ice type and get boosted in 30% damage. Goodra goes first with the Dragon Pulse into Swampert for about a quarter of its health. Aurorus falls with a Meteor Beam, gets a special attack boost, and its Power Herb lets it activate now. Into Oranguru for a good chunk of damage, over half its health. Swampert worth an Earth Power into Aurorus. Ooh, hangs on with a thread. Oranguru following with an Instruct. And Swampert using Earth Power again into Aurorus to pick up the KO. Cinderace's third Pokemon is Dragalge. The Suicunes out to an early head start thanks to some instruction shenanigans from Oranguru and Swampert. Swampert swaps out, and Armaldo comes out in its place.
That shiny very much resembling a sunburn lobster.
Cincinnati Cinderaces Dynamaxing their Goodra. That thick, gooey girl. Goodra with a max Wormwind into Armaldo. About a third of its health, but attack drops. Dragalge with a Hydro Pump into Oranguru misses, and Oranguru sets the Trick Room. Now withdrawing the Oranguru, Suicune send out Turtonator in its place. Armaldo with a Bulldoze. Super effective on Turtonator, dropping its speed but activating its weakness policy. Super effective as well on Dragalge and dropping the speed of both Dragalge and Goodra. Dragalge follows up with a Dragon Pulse into Armaldo, knocking it down to the yellow. Goodra with a Wormwind into Turtonator is going to pick up the KO! Turtonator got its weakness policy activated, but was able to do absolutely nothing with it as a max Wormwind takes it out. Dragalge recovers a little bit of health with Black Sludge. the Suicune's going to use to replace it? Oh, the Swampert comes out again. Three v 3, the Cinderaces sitting on Goodra and Dragalge, both fairly healthy. The Suicunes have Swampert and Armaldo. Armaldo under half health. Swampert at about 3/4, still doing alright. Bouncy, happy Goodra.
Yes, very happy.
Look at that happy boy. Happy girl, excuse me. Alright, everyone's moves are locked in. The Suicunes are making a Dynamax. And it is Swampert. The Dynamax lighting really complements that shiny well. Armaldo with a Rock Slide. Gets the flinch on Dragalge. Swampert following with a Max Quake also into Dragalge. That's going to knock it out.
Big knee.
Special defense boosts abound as Dragalge faints. Goodra's Max Wormwind goes into Swampert. Not much damage at all. Still over half health. But dropping attacks. Cinderace is down to her last 2 Pokemon. Her 4th is Talonflame. And that's going to do it for Goodra's Dynamax. 2-3 in favor of the Suicunes. Suicunes have their Dynamax Swampert and Armaldo on the field. Armaldo sitting at under half health with a Ranguru in the back still. Cincinnati Cinderaces with Goodra and Talonflame, both healthy, but her remaining 2 Pokemon. Armaldo swaps out for a Ranguru. Swampert follows with a Max Hailstorm into Goodra. Goodra takes it handily though, still over half health. The Hail is set. Goodra with a Dragon Pulse into Swampert. Ooh, a critical hit. That deals a good chunk of damage. Talonflame Steel Wing into a Ranguru. Not quite in the red, but the Hail will put it there. This will be the last turn of Swampert's Dynamax. Lincoln City Suicunes making sure they like their move selection. Alright, a Ranguru opens with a Psychic into Goodra. Negligible damage to Goodra, but does knock it down to below half health. Swampert with a Geyser into Talonflame. Ooh, Talonflame is not able to take it despite the attack drops. That resets the weather to rain as Talonflame falls. Ooh, and another critical hit Dragon Pulse into Swampert from Goodra. But not enough to pick up the KO. Swampert just hanging on in the red. A Ranguru as well. Goodra 1v3. Swampert swaps out into Armaldo. Gudra's Thunderbolt goes into Oranguru and knocks it out. A free turn and free KO for the Cinderaces on the Switch. One v2 Cinderaces with Gudra. Just below half, but just barely hanging on versus Armaldo and Swampert. Swampert barely hanging on and Armaldo at about the same amount of health Gudra is. This is a close game. Gudra's Dragon Pulse goes into Swampert first, and that's gonna knock it out. Gudra versus Armaldo. Armaldo's X Scissor into Gudra. Ooh, picks up the KO with a critical hit. Wow, what a close game. Gudra almost managed the 1v3, but a critical hit from Armaldo took out any hope it had. Whew, what a nail-biting game, too.
That's battle.
What you planning for game 3? Little indecisive on your 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets a little love. Game 3 of the Lincoln City Suicunes versus Cincinnati Cinderaces. Suicunes currently lead the set 2-0. And open Oranguru and Escavalier. Cinderaces respond with Incineroar and Dragalge. And Incineroar's Intimidate passing out some early attack drops. As Cavalier swaps out, Swampert comes out in its place. Incineroar with the Darkest Lariat. Going into Oranguru, gonna hit it for a lot of damage. Not quite enough to pick up the KO or knock it into the red. But a follow-up attack from Dragalge into Oranguru will knock it out. Why did you choose to double it?
Because a Ringaroo was giving me trouble, so I figured just give it the
Take out the threat. Smart thinking. And the Suicunes send out Armaldo in its place. All 4 Mons revealed as Cavalier sitting in the back. Cinderace is still sitting on all 4 of theirs, capitalizing on a swap out from the Suicunes on his first turn. How will the Suicunes respond? Well, the Dynamax, that's how. Dynamax Armaldo. Feel the power of sunburn. Incineroar with a close combat into Armaldo for a small amount of damage. Dragalge with a Hydro Pump into Swampert. Also for a small amount of damage, about a quarter. Swampert responding with an Ice Beam into Dragalge. Ooh, almost knocks it down to the red for super effective damage. Armaldo with a Max Ooze into Incineroar. Almost takes it down to half health, but passing out special attack boost to it and its partner. Dragalge recovering a little bit of health from its Black Sludge. Incineroar opens with the Darkest Lariat into Armaldo, almost not getting it down to half health. Dragalge doubling into it as well with a Hydro Pump. Swampert following up with an Ice Beam into Dragalge, and that will knock it out. And Armaldo following with a Max Quake into Incineroar for super effective damage will also knock it out. Strong turn for the Suicunes as he picks up some special defense boosts and takes out 2 of the Cinderaces Pokemon. Cinderaces revealing her final 2 Pokemon, Goodra and Talonflame. V3 in favor of the Suicunes. Cinderaces have 2 fully healthy Pokemon. Suicune Swampert at about 3/4. Armaldo at about 1/4, but Dynamaxed. With a healthy Escavalier still in the back. Cinderace is also opting for her Dynamax, Dynamaxing her Goodra. Talonflame with a Fly to remove itself from the field. Goodra with a Max Wormwind. Aimed at Armaldo. Ooh, knocks it down to the red, but doesn't do much damage. Does pass out some physical attack drops. Ooh, an Ice Beam from Swampert. Deals a little bit of damage, not as much as you'd expect. Ooh, but then Armaldo misses its attack on Talonflame, who's up in the sky with Fly, and that will do it for Armaldo's Dynamax. Woo! So turning into quite the tight game. Talonflame's Fly into Swampert, knocks it down to below half health. Goodra's Max Flare into Armaldo. Doesn't quite pick up the KO. Wow, what a tanky Armaldo. Another Ice Beam from Swampert into Goodra. Doesn't quite knock it down to half health. Wow, what a Rock Slide from Armaldo, though. Talonflame hangs on with a Focus Sash and knocks Goodra down to below half health. Talonflame opens with the Steel Wing into Armaldo. That'll pick up the KO there. Making it an even 2v2 fight. Goodra with a Max Whirlwind into Swampert. Ooh, knocks it down to red, but not quite enough to pick up the KO. Swampert's Ice Beam goes into Goodra. Puts it at the magical percentage. Goodra hanging on in the red. Its final turn of Dynamax over. Suicunes send out their final Pokemon as Cavalier. You might actually pull this off. 2v2 in Game 3 of the Cinderaces versus the Suicunes. Cinderaces hanging on by the skin of her teeth, but has speed on her side. Talonflame opens with a Fire Blast into Escavalier. Woo! From full to none, Escavalier cannot withstand a fire attack in the sunlight. Goodra falls with a Flamethrower on Swampert. Will it be enough? Oh, just barely not. Swampert is able to pick up the KO on Goodra with an Ice Beam. But now it's a 1v1, Talonflame versus Swampert, and Talonflame is faster. All it needs to do is land an attack. I can't believe you just clicked that.
What? What?
And when Swampert goes down, the recoil also takes out Talonflame. But Swampert technically falls first, so the victory goes to the Cincinnati Cinderaces.
I still win.